I wish they would keep the grass the whole time, Burns said. Grass just feels better. Everybody knows that.
That's Brian Burns, and he's not wrong. He's also not happy, because for one summer, his own stadium had grass, real grass, and in about a week, they're ripping it out.
You definitely get injured more on field turf when your cleats stick in the ground, your foot it doesn't come out, boom, you tear your ACL, you have other situations that pop up.
Boom, you tear your ACL. That's not a stat. That's a sound effect these guys hear in their nightmares, and they're telling you, on camera, exactly which surface causes it.
There are no statistically significant differences in lower extremity injuries or concussions that can be attributed to the type of playing surface.
And that right there is the NFL's chief medical officer basically telling 300-pound men who play on this stuff for a living that their knees are lying to them. Buckle up, dog, because this one's about to get messy. Here's the setup. FIFA rolls into the country for the World Cup this summer, and it needs NFL stadiums to host matches. Problem is, soccer doesn't play on plastic, so FIFA makes a demand: real grass or no tournament. And the NFL, an organization that has spent 2 decades telling its own players that natural grass is complicated, expensive, and logistically impossible in half these buildings, suddenly finds religion. 11 stadiums, full grass installs, dirt, irrigation systems, sprinklers, the whole 9 yards, in stadiums that had been running plastic turf since some of these players were in middle school.
This was install it right. This was a complete install.
Not a rug rolled over the turf, not some cosmetic band-aid for the cameras, a full, real, dig-up-the-dirt installation noticed immediately.
Why can't we have this too?
That's Caleb Williams, blunt as it gets, posting straight to social the second he sees his own building get treated better for a couple of guys venting on a podcast and letting it die. Washington's Laramie Tunsil posted, "We're worth the cost." Green Bay linebacker Zane Franklin followed with, "The cost of doing nothing is paid for by players' bodies. Make grass mandatory." In Pittsburgh, Patrick Queen called for a permanent switch and got backed up publicly by Cameron Hayward. That's quarterbacks, tackles, linebackers, defensive stars, 4 different teams all landing on the same message inside the same stretch of days, with the Players Union amplifying every single post through its own account. Even coaches got dragged into it whether they wanted to be or not. Giants coach Brian Daboll got asked point blank about the grass swap before a game and tried to dodge it with a joke about not wanting Roger Goodell calling him afterward. You don't dodge a question like that unless it's genuinely radioactive back at league headquarters. And here's the domes argument that really stinks for the NFL. For years, the league line was simple. You physically cannot grow real grass inside a building with no sunlight, full stop, end of discussion. Except FIFA just walked into stadiums like SoFi, which has a roof, and grew a full tournament-grade grass field anyway. George Kittle specifically called out SoFi by name because that's the exact stadium the league always used as its go-to excuse. Turns out the "we literally can't" argument was actually a "we didn't want to spend the money" argument wearing a lab coat. Now let's get into why this isn't just players being precious about their footing. This is a body count argument.
Staggering 69% higher rate of non-contact foot and ankle injuries on turf compared to grass.
69%. That's not a rounding error. That's a full-blown red flag with a siren attached. And it's not just ankles. Players are also looking at a 32% higher rate of non-contact knee injuries on turf compared to grass, and a 28% higher overall rate of non-contact lower extremity injuries across the board. Add in the fact that turf injuries trend more season-ending than grass injuries, and you've basically got an entire union pointing at plastic and going, "This is the reason half our locker room is on IR every December." MetLife specifically has been the villain origin story of this whole saga. Nick Bosa tore his ACL on that exact turf in 2020. Solomon Thomas went down the same year. Jabril Peppers in 2021. Wan'Dale Robinson and Sterling Shepard both got hurt on it in 2022. Same season Kyle Fuller did too. Aaron Rodgers ruptured his Achilles on it 4 plays into 2023. That's not bad luck stacking up over a decade. That's one field quietly ending seasons every single year, sitting there untouched until a soccer tournament needed it fixed for 3 weeks. That's the turning point of this entire story right there. It wasn't that grass was impossible, it's that nobody with enough leverage had ever demanded it before. And this isn't some fringe opinion from a handful of injury-prone veterans either. The NFL Players Association ran its own survey back in 2023 and found that 92% of players prefer grass over turf. 92%, in a league where players can't agree on basically anything else, from who's the real MVP to whether the season should have 18 games or 17. That number alone should have ended this argument years ago. So now the real fight starts, because this is where money enters the chat, and money always wins arguments in this league. Here's the part the league loves to point to. The Northeast has actually tried this before, and it didn't stick. The Patriots ran natural grass at Gillette Stadium from 2002 to 2006 before switching to turf. The Giants and Jets had grass at the old Giants Stadium from 2002 to 2002 before they made the same call. Cold weather teams couldn't rotate in backup fields the way Miami or Tampa can, and the grass just couldn't recover fast enough between uses. That's a real, documented failure, not a hypothetical. So when the league says, "We tried this, it doesn't work up north," they're not making it up out of thin air. The NFL's own field director basically says the quiet part out loud. Grass needs recovery time, and NFL stadiums don't get days off. These buildings host concerts, monster truck rallies, college bowl games, back to back to back, and grass can't just bounce back overnight the way plastic can. It's not laziness, it's logistics, and it's expensive logistics at that. Hundreds of millions of dollars just to install it, then $1 million a year minimum to maintain it. And that's before you even get to cold weather cities where the growing season basically shuts down for half the schedule. And somewhere in the middle of all that math sits Jerry Jones. One report pointed directly at the Cowboys owner resisting a switch to grass, specifically because of the cost, even with his own stadium sitting right there as one of the 11 that got the World Cup treatment. Kittle called that out by name too, noting that 92% of players want grass, while owners like Jones keep resisting because of the price tag. When the guy who owns America's team is the poster child for saying no, that's not a great look heading into a CBA fight.
If you can put grass in MetLife and in SoFi, I think you could do that year-round if you really gave a damn.
That's George Kittle. And that line, "if you really gave a damn," is the whole fight compressed into one sentence. This isn't players asking the league for a favor anymore. It's players accusing ownership of a choice to spend the money and do the impossible-sounding thing for a global soccer tournament, and then quietly not do it for the guys who actually generate the league's revenue every single Sunday. And look, I'm not saying the league's argument is nothing. Turf is cheaper. Turf survives a stadium calendar that never sleeps. Grass genuinely struggles in January in Buffalo. Those are real logistical problems, not just excuses.
Reality is, everyone wants to play on grass because you feel better.
Former lineman Andrew Whitworth said that, and he's not some rookie chasing headlines. He's a guy who played over a decade in this league on both surfaces. When a 15-year vet backs the young guys instead of the front office, that's not a media narrative anymore. That's a locker room consensus. But here's the thing that makes this whole saga sting so bad for the NFL. They just proved, on camera, in front of the entire world, that every single one of those logistical problems has a solution when somebody with enough juice actually demands it. And here's the twist that makes this whole thing funnier than a straight grass good, turf bad story. Even FIFA's grass caught strays. French midfielder Adrien Rabiot ripped the MetLife pitch after a group stage win, saying it felt more like an artificial surface than actual grass. Vinicius Jr. said basically the same thing. France's own manager pointed at the short grass fibers in the firm layer underneath. So the same field NFL players have been holding up as proof it's possible wasn't even good enough for the soccer players standing on it. Nobody's completely happy. Welcome to sports. So here's where the ripple effect kicks in. Pittsburgh already didn't wait around for a league mandate. They looked at their own turf report card, the one that graded Acrisure Stadium among the worst surfaces in the league, and quietly swapped their grass blend to a cold weather-tested Bermuda hybrid this offseason on their own dime. Art Rooney listened to his locker room. That's one team breaking from the pack. The question now is whether the other 7 turf stadiums follow that lead. Summer now knows for a fact that the excuse was never really about what's possible. It was about who the league was willing to spend the money on. And for one summer, it wasn't them.